Okay, let's go to our next question from Olzas, and Olzas says, I hope I've pronounced that right. Hi, Margaret. I'd like our opportunistic approach in the current market. My plan is as follows: buy distressed properties below their values, renovate and sell within a short period without renovation, make a profit and look for the next opportunity, then buy my place in a good suburb in Melbourne, continue looking for opportunities to buy below value properties and then hold sell them depending on the circumstances. Do I need a buyer's advocate? How do I find a good one, and anything else I need to know? Now, I'm not sure I completely understand this strategy. Renovate or sell within a short period without renovating. So there's a lot of ifs going on here. First of all, if you can find those distressed properties in the first place. Could be more at the moment. Jury's out on that. I've been doing some figures for a webcast I'm doing for our clients tomorrow night. Really, it's very difficult to work out what's happening with values at the moment, because not only are people not buying, but they're not selling either. So it's really just got the pause button on the property market more than anything else. So nothing's going up and nothing's going down either. So there's just nothing really. So difficult to find out whether you get those distressed properties anyway. But there's a lot of considerations about buying and selling in the short term, Ian. Well, from a tax point of view,
even if that strategy, if you're going to buy and sell, you know, he's really talking about distressed property. Which, I mean, if you think about it, the GFC, which is probably an even more distant memory for people now, right? There were people who had exactly that same thought, and so in the last cycle and the one before. The thing about when there's a distressed sale, I mean, where's it coming from? It's usually the bank acting. Now, at the moment, what bank is forcing people to sell property? I don't think there's any. In fact, done exactly the opposite. Then you've got buyers that don't have a bank debt that really want to sell right now to get my money to do what, right? Okay, they might be out there. But whenever that happens in a market, these seagulls appear and they really force the price back up to a market level. So there are I don't really perceive there's going to be wholesale distressed sellers in this market.
I mean, I agree. And it is different than the GFC, because in the GFC, you weren't offered a repayment holiday, really. You could still get one, but they weren't publicly offered. Now they are.
You were more likely to get a bargain in the GFC, and there was very few.
Than you are now, because people aren't going to be distressed because they're allowed to take those
payment holidays. Banks will do everything.
Their job. And let's not forget, anybody who is without a job at the moment is getting not only the job seeker payment, but an additional $550 a fortnight as a coronavirus supplement. So they're actually not, they're not homeless. They're getting enough money to make ends meet. So if they do have a mortgage, which is also on hold, they're getting $750 or $700 a week.
You can't go to the
with
pub.
nothing to.
Can't go to the restaurant.
They can't go anywhere. They've got nothing to spend their money on. So there's not that many distressed people. That's the first problem. Second problem you've got, Olzas, is this: if you buy a property and sell it within 12 months, you pay full capital gains tax. You don't get the discount. So you've got to hold it for at least 12 months. Which means if you're holding it for at least 12 months, you've got to put a tenant in it. And then when you've got a tenant in it, the turnover period isn't quite as easy, because that tenant's under a lease and they've got to see out the lease. There's a whole lot of problems around that. And on top of that, you're now talking about a buyer's agent. You're going to pay $12,000 to $15,000 per property for a buyer's agent. So you've got the purchase price. Let's call it a distressed purchase price. You've got the stamp duty on top of that, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. You've got the buyer's agent fee, $12,000 to $15,000. You've got the
legal fees.
The legal fees, another 3 or 4. You've got the property agent's fee to sell it, which is another 2%. We've just reached $70,000, I think, pretty much, give or take, or $60,000. So if you're talking about buying distressed properties, which are probably going to be in that lower price bracket of maybe $350,000 to $500,000, you've got $60,000 straight away, plus your capital gains tax, which is your marginal rate of tax. Let's call it 30% on the entire gain. So even if you manage to gain $150,000 by doing this, 50 of it's going to go out to capital gains tax, 60 on all those buy and hold costs. You haven't made much. for your efforts.
No, you've got to do the numbers. I mean, the realities are, I mean, even if you convince yourself on your spreadsheet that it'll make sense, I mean, any distressed sale via a bank is going to go to auction.
Yep.
So...
And look, my own experience is that depending on the market, in a flat market, a renovation only adds the cost of the renovation to it. So, and sometimes not even. I can tell you now, I've done some renovations recently. You're not going to get out of a renovation for much under 40 to 50,000 to get kitchen, bathroom, floors, painting, and new blinds. So 40,000 on top of that. I think we just wiped out every cent that you just made on buying and doing up distress sale. It's not an easy thing to do, particularly in a subdued market. Renovating to sell at a profit really only works in a really strong and rising market where people are really keen to buy. So, not necessarily the best strategy from all points of view.
Look, if you can find the absolute bargain that no one else found and grab it off the market and you factored in all those costs you mentioned and still make a buck, well, okay.
To me, the effort of renovating, which is very stressful, because don't forget you've got the hold costs as well. We didn't even count the hold costs, which is the fact that you're not going to have a tenant while you're renovating, but you're paying the mortgage while you're renovating. So I don't think it's going to get you into your own home more quickly. What will get you into your own home more quickly is to buy a property in a good area, get it rented out while rates are low, one that's got good positive cash flow, that will pay the loan off for you, and in an area that will grow in the next couple of years, and keep getting equity by doing it that way. That's far better than trying to buy, renovate and sell. A lot less effort.
The fun.